All right, fifth graders, we have been working on adding and subtracting decimals. The rest of this unit is on adding and subtracting fractions. In fourth grade, you should have added and subtracted fractions that have the same denominator. This year, we're going to have different denominators, so we'll kind of go through that. Please title it Adding and Subtracting Fractions with Unlike Denominators. And here we go. All right, so we'll have 1/12 plus 3/4. I put a little picture there on the bottom. You don't have to draw that, but everything else I write down, I would write down. So a typical wrong answer of a student that does not know how to do this will just add 3 plus 1, 4, and add the denominators. 12 plus 4 is 16. Now, 4/16 is a quarter. So if we're down here and we're adding the blue parts, that would be like saying that when you put the blue, let's say these are candy bars, you have a 1/12 of a candy bar and 3/4 of a candy bar. And when you add them together, you get 1/4 of a candy bar, which is about that big. That doesn't make any sense. So can't do that. Can't add denominators. What we need to do is we need to make the denominator the same, and there's different methods of doing this. One's called the butterfly method, which we'll get to in a second. You could use the butterfly method here, but what I really want you to do, kind of what we've done with decimals, is assess the numbers and see if there's a better way. So always start with the smaller one denominator and see if it goes into the bigger denominator. So we have a 4 and a 12. Does 4 go into 12? It does. How many times? 3 times. So what we want to do is we want to multiply both of these numbers by 3. What we're doing is you're making equivalent fractions, okay? 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. What I'm saying by equivalent fractions is that 3/4 and 9/12 have the same value, okay? To show that on my picture is basically what I'm doing is I'm taking these fourths here, and by multiplying by 3, I'm dividing them into 3 pieces. So if you look down here now, you'll notice I now have 12 pieces. They're very small, and 9 of them are blue. Okay? So 9/12, 3/4 are equivalent. They're the same thing. And now the denominators for both of my numbers are the same. And now I can easily take this one and add it to there and know that I have 10/12, which does make sense. Okay? Next one. All right, so this situation is a little bit different because 5 and 7 are your denominators, and 5 does not go into 7. So this is where we're going to use what we call the butterfly method. But I'm going to explain it to you, and I want you to understand why we're doing this, okay? You can see on the GIF right over here, it actually takes you through it. But I'm going to take it through it as well. Call it a butterfly. So we circle the numbers like that. It kind of looks like a butterfly, I guess. And you multiply towards the top corner in this direction. So 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 7 is 14. So I would put those at the top. So those are our new numerators. Okay, this is probably the quickest and easiest method and the most favorite for most fifth graders. But on problems like we just did, this is a waste of your time and you're going to add an extra step later. But for problems like this is what you should do. And what you're essentially doing is you're multiplying by the opposite denominator. So for the denominator, we're doing 5 times 7. And on the other one, we're doing 7 times 5. And the commutative property tells us that 7 times 5 and 5 times 7 are the exact same thing, which on the GIF over here equals 35. So that is your denominator. So the butterfly method, they also call a quick common denominator. You multiply the denominators together, 7 times 5. And then you do the butterfly where you go corner to corner. Okay? And now once your denominator is the same, you can add. 14 plus 15 is 29. So title that the butterfly method. It's a great method, works really well. It's really, once you get really good at it, it goes really fast. And it's pretty simple. Not always the best, but it works. All right. This is one where you have a choice. 6 and 8. 6 does not go into 8. However, they do have a few different factors. So you could do 6 times 8 and do the butterfly method, because you get 48. Notice on the GIF on the left, they use 24, because 6 and 8 both go into 24, which is smaller than 48. So immediately I'm going to put that into 24 there. And then I just got to figure out what to. So I have my denominator, which is 24. I just got to figure out what to multiply my numerator by. So I have 4 6, and I have 3 8s. Oh, we're subtracting this one. I got to pay attention. We are not adding. I just made a silly mistake. I'm glad I saw that. Subtracting. But same method, doesn't really make a difference as long as you don't finish this incorrectly. So how many times does 6 go into 24? This is where, remember early in the year I was harping on factors and multiples? This is where those skills are really going to help you. 6 times 4 is 24, which means I got to do 4 times 4. I should have said this earlier, but 4 over 4 is 1. You're just multiplying by 1. You're getting the same number. It's equivalent. That's why we multiply this by the denominator and numerator by the same number. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then how many times does 8 go to 24? 3 times. Hopefully you knew that fast. Then you do 3 times 3 as well, because 3 over 3 is 1. 3 times 3 is 9. So now you have 16 24ths minus 9 24ths. So you just subtract 16 minus 9, you get 7 24ths. Once again, if I go too fast, just watch it again. All right. So those are basically your 3 different things you got to think about. Does my denominator go into each? Like, look at. I want you to do these ones on your own for homework. This one, does 2 go into 3? It does not. What do they both go into? They go into 6. So that should be your denominator. 7, does 5 and 3 probably go into 15? 8 and 6, we just did that. 2 and 12, that is one where you should not do the butterfly method. Just change the halves into 12ths. And then, so I want you to complete those 6 problems. Ask your parents for help if you need them. And if you get stumped on one of them, you can bring it in tomorrow, and we're going to work on this tomorrow as well. Have a great night.